everyone, and welcome to The Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're starting to look at different methods of black and white conversions inside of Photoshop. We're going to start with a simple one, just simply using Photoshop's black and white adjustment layer. We're going to add a little twist to that by adding the gradient map on top of that. In future episodes, we're going to look at Nik Silver Efex Pro 2. We're going to look at On1, Luminar, and Topaz, and also DxO. We're looking at their black and white conversions as well. So let's get started today with Photoshop. So in Photoshop, we're going to simply come down to the adjustment layer icon and give that a click, and come to black and white, give that a click. And here is the properties section right here. And we see these sliders, reds, yellows, greens, cyans, blues, and magentas, representing all the color tones inside of our image here. All right. And these sliders will be dealing with the luminosity levels of these tones. Okay. So we'll start with reds. If I move reds to the right, any tones that were red in the image will get lighter if I move it to the right, and darker if I move it to the left. So let's just find a point that we kind of like and leave it there. Then let's go to our next tone, yellow. So any yellow tones would get lighter if I move it to the right, darker to the left. So let's find a place that we kind of like to sit that at. Where do you set it to? Wherever your eye likes it, really. So just play with the sliders and see what you like. There's not much green in here, if any. So let's move the green. Yeah, there's not really anything in green in this image. Cyans definitely up here in the sky. So let's pull the cyans to the left. I want to darken up that sky for some nice drama in this image like that, somewhere in there. And also the blues. Let's pull the blues over there too and just add a nice broody sky to the image right around there. Okay, and there's not much magenta, if any, in here, so let's slide that. Yeah, nothing much happening there. So there's the basic conversion right there, guys, and that looks pretty nice. So now for the twist, we're going to add the gradient map. So we're going to come back to the adjustment layer icon and give it a click and find gradient map, which is right here. Give it a click, and this is how your image looks. Now let's click the eyeball on and off, and you'll see it added a lot more contrast here, and I'll explain why in a second here. Now, however, if your image comes up with some kind of weird colors, like let me show you, like if it would come up looking like this, or maybe like that, or like that, some kind of weird colors. All you have to do is simply come up to the top left-hand corner, move 3 to the right, to this little swatch right here, the black and white swatch, give it a click, and you're on the black and white. So that's all you have to do. So just bear that in mind if that happens to you. Now, the reason this image is so contrasty, because look here at this gradient right here. See these are called stops, this little square here and this little square here. There's a black stop and a white stop. This black stop represents pure black in the image, and this white stop represents pure white in the image. And then you have all the tones of gray in between here. Okay? So that's what gives us that nice high contrast. Now what I like to do, and this is my method for doing this, is I like to add a third stop right to the center for the midtones. See this little hand with a little finger pointing up? Whenever you see that, just give your mouse a click. But make sure you're in the center of this gradient, right around there somewhere. And give it a click and you'll add a stop in the center. Now the picture goes real ugly here. It goes all black because it added a black stop right here. But all we need to do is come here to where it says color, give that a click, and then take your cursor and move it the whole way over to the left and see where I'm at right around the mid-tones right here. Give that a little click in this color picker right here and stick to the far left edge of this color picker here in the midtones. Give it a click, and there your picture comes back. Now watch, I can take this little circle here, I call it a puck, and move it up, and watch, I can brighten up the midtones, or I can darken down the midtones if I move it down. So depending which way you want your image to go, and I'm kind of liking it there because look at that drama in the sky. I'm going to leave it right there and just click OK. Now we can make some further adjustments here. So let's look at our gradient now. In our gradient, of course, we have the black stop, the middle stop, which would be grays, like 50% gray area somewhere in here, and whites. And then we have these little diamond stops right here. One right here and one right here. Okay, so one between the black and the midtones, one between the midtones and the whites. And then we can take these sliders or these little stops right here And we can click on them and we can drag them to the left and the right, and the image will change when I do that. But very important here, guys. Now, hear me on this one. See that little hand tool? And I use that to add this stop right here. If that hand tool is showing and I click right here, I'm going to add a stop here, and the picture's going to go real ugly, and I don't want to put a stop here. If you would, you can just hit Command Z on a Mac, Control Z on a PC, and it'll go back to where it was, okay? But if that happens, do that. But try not to do it, okay? Because it'll frustrate you. But anyway, the little hand tool, you don't want to see that. You want to just move your mouse up till you see that little arrow come back from your mouse right there. Okay, so then you can click. And if you drag this to the right, what you're going to do is you're going to darken up your midtones. And if you click it and drag it to the left, you're going to lighten up your shadows. And I just said lighten up your midtones. I meant to say lighten up your shadows before. Or darken your shadows. Anyway, screwed up on that one. But anyway, if you move it to the right, you're going to darken up your shadow tones. If you move this to the left, you're going to lighten up your shadow tones. So just adjust it to where you think it looks best. And I'm thinking maybe like right around there. I think that looks pretty cool. So now let's go over to this diamond here, which is actually missing. To get it back, all you have to do is either click on the midtone stop or the white stop, okay? Just give either one of those a click and that little diamond will come back. So now if I take this diamond, and remember, do not get the hand tool. Make sure you get the cursor. Click it. If you drag it to the right, what you're going to do is you're going to darken up your highlights a bit. Okay. And if you move it to the left, you're going to lighten up your highlights. So depending which way you want your image to go, you can go either way. So if I want to, take some of the brightness out of those clouds, I would move it to the right. If I want to make those clouds a little bit brighter, I can move it to the left. And I don't want to clip those, but I want them pretty nice and white. But I don't want to overdo it. But I'm going to say right about there, guys. And that's basically that. That's about all you really have to do here. And then when you're done, all you do is come up here and click OK. And that's that. Now, an extra bonus here. We can also tone this image with a gradient map. And to do that, we'll come back down here to Adjustment Layers and give that a click. And we're going to click on Gradient Map again. So we want to add another gradient map. And it does another black and white gradient map. So come back up here into Properties and click on the gradient. The gradient editor comes back up. Do the same thing we did on the original black and white conversion on gradient map and add one stop to the center. All right. And then come over to the color. And this is where things change. Come to the color, just like before, click it and come over and find the midtones here and give it a click. This time come right to the center. We just want that right in the center. And now simply take that puck and move it to the right. And when you do, you're going to start introducing color into your image. Okay, see I'm introducing red tones here. If I keep moving to the right, I'll introduce a lot of red tones in there. So you can go for some crazy dramatic looks here. But I just want to add just like a simple toning to my image. And I don't really want a red tone. I want more like a sepia tone. So right now you'll see I'm in this hue range right here. So the little hue is ticked off here. And so if I take the slider here and move it up into the area, like the orange, yellow areas where I would consider sepias to live somewhere in here. Okay. And then take this little puck and move it a little more to the right. And see how that nice sepia tone's coming in there? And then you can come here and just readjust it till you get the look that you really want. And I'm liking it right about there, but I might just add, I'm just going to add just a little bit more of that look. And then all you have to do is click OK. But if you wanted to go with some other color, if you drag it up into blues, you'll get that sienna type look to it, And let's just do that. Say if you wanted a sienna type look, let's go up into the blues like that. And then you can take this if you want to increase the saturation of the blues, you can move that over. And if you want to lighten those blue colors, you can pull this puck up into the lighter areas like that. So you can play around with it. But let's bring this back to sepia because that's really where I want it to be. Right in there. But that's too bright. I want to be more around in the mid-range. But somewhere right in here, but a little oranger. Which I think that looks pretty good. Right about there. Maybe just brighten this up just a little bit. I'm just going to pull straight up a little bit. Right there. and just click OK. So there's that, guys. And then all you have to do is click OK, and you're done. And so there we go. A simple black and white conversion inside of Photoshop using the black and white adjustment layer, the gradient map, to add a little extra contrast, and the gradient map again to add a toning effect to the image. Now, if we want to, guys, we can come back to this black and white adjustment layer, give it a click, and we can come here and we can just make sure we like where things are at. You know, we might want to open up those reds a little bit more, maybe like that. And let's check our yellows out, see if we like where they're at. Maybe right about there. And the greens, we know nothing was happening there. Let's look at our cyans. Okay, maybe right about there. And let's check our blues. And right about in there. So there we have it, guys. Black and white conversion in Photoshop. Stay tuned for the following episodes that are going to be covering all those other methods of black and white conversions that I told you about. So some exciting stuff coming. If you like this video today, please give it a like, guys. And also, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so and click the notification bell icon so you can be informed of all the new training videos that I'm putting out on a regular basis. Okay? Oh, before we go, let's look at the before and after. So let's option click on the background layer here. There's the before and there's the after. Pretty cool conversion. Again, guys, thanks for joining me today, and I will catch you later.